Hello everybody, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Plague Inc. Evolved Cure Mode. Today we're playing around with the Fungus. And the fungus is the first disease type that I think is going to give a lot of people some trouble, because with the bacteria and the virus, the strategy is mostly the same. You get the infection rate under control with lots of preventative response measures, you get some contact tracing, maybe a couple quarantines, and you're golden. With the fungus, though, it's a lot harder to contain and to predict, so there's a certain element of randomness that you're going to have to deal with, and the conventional methods don't necessarily work. You may have to go for continental lockdowns right off the bat, which is a strategy I've made work to get Mega Brutal beaten down. So I'm going to show you guys that today. This one can be tricky. It really comes down to paying attention at the right times and responding quickly. Now, to that extent, I'm going to use the exact same task force as before. Fast response EMTs can be helpful. You could use outreach coordinator, but I'm not going to be using the field operatives for non-compliance as much as trying to save one country at a time, because in my experience with the fungus, at least one country is going to start exploding toward exponential growth, and you want your field operatives there, not worried about non-compliance. Also, for reasons I'll show you in a minute, fast response can be nice. Technical officer to reduce a global infection, medical coordinator for panic, because this absolutely can wreck your games. It buys you some time. Celebrity scientist for non-compliance is a must, and forensic epidemiologist because the fungus doesn't care about spreading by land, sea, or air. It has spore bursts, so these don't help you at all. We might as well go for a faster vaccine. All right, we're going to set up our HQ in Egypt, and we're going to go immediately for the investigation of outbreaks, the partnerships, and the field operatives. Go to speed 3, wait for these guys to pop up, and then we're going to start exploring. Now, as I said, the fungus uses spore bursts, which means one country in the world right now is already infected. But it's not necessarily going to follow a predictable pattern of spreading to neighboring countries and then getting on planes and boats. In fact, it's not very likely to do that at all. It's going to start randomly popping up in continents all over the place, which means we need intelligence of every single country in the world. The other reason we really need to be exploring in the beginning of the game is when you put an entire continent on lockdown, let's say Africa. Any countries that have not been explored will immediately go into non-compliance, because the people are saying at that point, well, how do you know anybody's over here? We're not going to shut down our economy on a hypothetical, but if you've at least got some intelligence, then they'll respect the lockdowns, at least initially. So we need to explore every single country in the world. Now, I'm going to just pop around over here and hope that we detect it early, just going for a couple little locations in all the continents. We probably won't, but who knows? We'll see. One country that often has killed my runs here is the Caribbean, believe it or not. And I'll explain a bit more about why that's important in a minute once we find this darn thing. All right, so we have discovered it here in Algeria. That actually is enough people infected. This might have been the epicenter. It was, okay. But this doesn't matter as much. You might think we want to send our field operatives over here to try and start tamping this down, but it's not going to expand to other countries very rapidly anyway. Also, we don't have the option to go ahead and start healing people early, because the fungus is the first disease type where you first need to analyze it before you can even have any response methods at all. There's nothing. No contact tracing, diddly squat. So we have nothing better to do with our field operatives except for explore every single country. Now, because I know it's in Africa, that means we're probably going to want to do a lockdown of this continent first, because the numbers are going to be the highest in Algeria to start us off. So we are going to want to go for a lockdown pretty early on. I might want to do that right now, though I do want to explore every country that would be impacted so we can get the maximum benefit. Let's go to Africa right here. We're going to go for a full lockdown. We're not going to bother with closing air, sea, or land access at all, because again, fungus don't care. Why waste our time with bad compliance issues? We are going to spend some points going for the furlough schemes early, and we're going to prioritize hard on getting the compliance risk down. Response measures, not even accessible right now, but honestly, not even that important. As long as you can deal with the lockdowns with full compliance, you don't have to spend your points on most of those measures at all. You won't get a lot of benefit. Now, we do know it's popped up in North America, so that's another concern. Let's get up to Iraq. That's the last country that's currently not being impacted by the lockdown. There we go. Okay. So we're probably going to go to North America for the next lockdown, unless there's another place we haven't explored yet. I mean, we don't know much about Asia and Europe yet, but we do know North America, so I'm going to take a risk, and we're going to get up over here, explore the rest of this, and prepare to put North America in lockdown. We're also going to go for some more adapting of society to prevent the compliance issues as much as we can. Okay, we know it's in China. That's a new spore burst, though. It only just appeared. We have intelligence there. We don't in the Caribbean. Let's get down here and find out. The Caribbean has screwed me on so many games, it's not even funny. All right, we're finding out that Asia's getting a bit more. It's starting to pick up some speed in Mexico. might be a problem. Let's find out what's going on here. It's in Central America. Okay, we are going to need to go for a lockdown in North America next, probably. So let's go ahead and do that. Full lockdown. We're going to go for another level of mortgage and rent relief there. Dangerous fungal bloom levels. Yeah, it's getting around. It's getting around. Analysis isn't done yet. We did discover it with pretty sizable numbers in South America now, and it's popping up in Europe and in Asia. Okay. Okay. So we're ultimately going to have the entire world on lockdown if I do this correctly. One thing I'm going to do now, we just finished analyzing the disease. So the next thing we're going to do is grab micron ventilation filters, which actually reduces the frequency of the fungal spores. So it's less likely to get in some countries as aggressively. So this is very helpful. We also have access to antifungals, which resets a fungal infection bonus. Now, I don't know what that bonus is exactly. I believe it impacts humid countries the most. But it's probably something that is slowly ramping up, kind of like the bioweapon, and this resets it. At least from the language, I'm assuming that it's happening in the background. I don't know for absolute sure. Let's go for a couple levels of contact tracing. This can be helpful in the early game, but beyond that, we don't care. Let's also unlock the alerts for everything, because we know we are going to do some full lockdowns in just a moment. I'm thinking we may want to lock down, well, let's see, where are we most likely to have issues? I think it might actually be South America. The numbers in Asia are bad, but, oh, wait, nope. The Philippines are the worst. Okay, let's go for a forced lockdown of all of Asia then. And we need to explore this area to get as much advantage as possible. We just arrived here in Italy to explore. We're still going to continue exploring here, impacting lots of countries. Yeah, duly noted. Let's get down toward Afghanistan, Southeast Asia. Yeah, we need to lock down all of Asia as quickly as possible. Let's see. We have enough points. We could go for things like infection control. I'll worry about this in a second. National stimulus is probably what I want next, unless we're going to lock down Europe and such. We actually need to lock down South America. This is going to start getting out of control. We have 57,000 infected in Bolivia now. Not allowed. We gotta stop that. So, what I've experienced with the fungus is often what will happen is one country in particular will ramp out of control fast, and you need to have your people over there tamping down on it as quickly as possible. If you do not, you're going to have so many fatalities in a single country, it causes a worldwide panic, and you run out of authority very, very rapidly. So you have to be prepared for that. New Zealand's been explored, so we're good to go there. The Philippines are mostly leveling out. I think it's going to end up being Bolivia. Let's get down over there. We've already got a lockdown, so I'm okay with that. Let's go for a lockdown in Europe as well. We're going to go for the infection control so that our field operatives can try to save this, because if we don't get... Look at this. It's starting to hit critical mass. If we don't save them quick, we are definitely screwed. So let's get that figured out. We're having some non-compliance issues in Madagascar, it looks like. Okay, well, I would love to go for the national stimulus. Not sure I can at the moment. Would be tempted to go for, let's say, some testing capacity. I really do need to get this national stimulus, though, so that's the next thing I have to save up for so we can solve this non-compliance issue. I mean, if you can get to national stimulus, you can save a lot. Now, we've evened things out in Bolivia, so we prevented it from hitting critical mass much further. Let's pay attention to some other nations, looking for examples where this is going to get out of control. So far, looking okay. Madagascar is a threat at 316% right now, and with non-compliance, they're a problem. Let's go for the national stimulus, see if that solves the problem. Okay, now they're going to put themselves under lockdown. We're having fatality issues in Bolivia, and whenever you see that, you need to be very worried. I want to go for the emergency care, but I'm thinking with it leveled out, we're okay at the moment. Let's start the vaccine research. Once a nation gets overwhelmed, that's when you can expect lots of panic. But at least we're starting to burn down these numbers. So we're okay, sort of. Madagascar is getting under control. Pay attention. Be vigilant. Look for a single country that is suddenly exploding in numbers and catch it before it becomes a problem. If you don't, you are going to lose the game. Just straight out. It will happen. Okay, let's see what else we want to do. We are okay. Everything's in lockdown. For the moment, we're all right. Now, as we have the entire world in lockdown, there are going to be a few countries here and there that start rebelling against you, and you're going to need to have some targeted relief in those countries. That's where we make use of the targeted economic aid, which I have not used up to this point on the channel, but we will be using it this time. This spends a couple of points with a special active ability in order to increase the compliance of a specific target country. There's 2 levels, and we want both before we start using it. Once you pick this up, you're going to find yourself using a lot of your points doing this, and it's hard to progress on anything else. We want to at least get some vaccine manufacturing and stuff going as well. In the meantime, though, let's pay attention here in Bolivia. This is looking mostly okay. Other countries, I think we're all right. Madagascar's evened out. Everything's okay there. Just paying attention. Watch out for Greenland. Sometimes that's an issue. Starting to see some issues in Sweden and the rest of Europe. That could become a problem. I want to go for this, but not until it becomes a bit cheaper. We're going to go ahead and grab probably some more testing capacity because the large outbreaks are the one that's going to kill you here more than anything else. With lockdowns in place, smaller contact tracing is good, but not absolutely crucial. Whereas I find that having the large testing capacity in countries like, let's say, Sweden with a large outbreak makes a pretty big difference. We could go for another level of that, but I don't need it right now. I am going to go for field research so we can start getting some extra boost to the vaccine. I think you only need one or the other, really, in this case. Accelerated research and field research to get the vaccine. But if we haven't got production going, rushing both of these is not too helpful. So I find one or the other is usually enough, at least to start us off. I really want to get this vaccine manufacturing, but until more people are impacted, until the vaccine makes more progress, it's going to be very expensive. Let's go ahead and unlock both of these just so I have the option. And I'm going to save up some points for the rest. I would love to go for another level of testing capacity, but at the moment we're okay. Peru's starting to pick up. Bolivia's now evened out. So what's the next country having trouble? Baltic states are fine. Greenland's fine. Let's take a look here at the map and see. It says Greenland as a percentage of population is the most impacted right now. We're going to go here and just not nip this in the bud. Now, raw numbers do matter, but once it reaches a certain percentage of the country, that's when you hit critical mass. So it's often worth looking for the country that has the most percentage infected to try and get that back under control. I kind of wouldn't mind accelerating the vaccine research. It's still pretty slow. We're looking pretty solid right now. Do I dare? Or do I reset the infection bonus? That's a good question. I don't know if I need any of these. We could get some benefit out of things like hand washing. It's not bad, but I think I am going to take the risk and go for the accelerated research and really try to get this vaccine going, because we're actually looking pretty stable right now. I feel like I have a little bit of room to work with. Okay, Japan just got a spore burst, but that's fine. As long as it's small, it doesn't matter. Central America, Peru, Bolivia's fine. Watch those islands. I have died to the Caribbean so many times, it's not even funny. Japan's okay. The Philippines are looking a little bit concerning. Looking okay in most of these places. I know this is slow, but you need to watch out for it. I'm a little bit worried about the Caribbean. Let's get down here next. Okay, Central America is looking a little scary, but mostly all right. It still looks like they're most worried about the Caribbean at the moment. Okay, let's go for that vaccine manufacturing now. It's actually made enough progress that it's a little bit cheaper. May need to save up some points just for non-compliance if it becomes a problem, but for the moment, we're looking all right. My authority's not too bad either at this stage. Just watching for anything crazy. Japan's okay. The Philippines are under control. Everyone here's doing fine. Yeah, we've mostly got this all right. Peru might become a problem. Argentina could become a problem. Greenland is still getting a little out of control, and it worries me. We're doing okay in a few places. Let's go for some more contact tracing. That is still helpful in some smaller outbreaks. Right now, everything is small. We're okay. Could go for more testing capacity. Don't think I need to. No, by the way, we're not going for things like border monitoring at all, because the fungus doesn't care. It's not about border monitoring. That doesn't matter much at all. All right, looking fine in the Caribbean. Let's go back up to Greenland and get this back going here. We're having some issues in the Philippines. This is where we now need to use some of our targeted non-compliance here to burn this back down, because the Philippines is an at-risk nation. Notice it started going up a lot the second it became non-compliant. So we have to start spending our points to try and keep these guys under control before the population centers become a problem. So watch for those. Right now, not a lot of people are infected. We're okay. Greenland looks like it's doing fine. Let's get down to the Philippines, because I think they're going to be an issue. Doing okay in Central America, doing fine down over here. Canada is picking up some steam. Okay, we're starting to get this number down. Heavy flooding in New Zealand, that's fine. Most of the world's all right. Most of the world is all right. We've got 2 levels of vaccine manufacturing. We could go for the Global Manufacturing Treaty, which is tempting, but I don't think we want that right now. I'm not going to lift any of the lockdowns at the moment. We could go for emergency care. Don't think I need it. I could go for some authority. That's not bad. I think I might instead want to go for some more contact tracing, though. It's pretty effective. So let's go ahead and grab that now to just keep things under control. The world is looking pretty okay right now. We're almost done with the research, and we're going to make some really good progress with the vaccine right off the bat. This is actually going really well so far. This is one of the best attempts I've had. All right, Central America is starting to pick up some steam, but that's because they broke lockdown for like 24 hours, and that's all it took. Philippines are under control. What else we have issues with? Greenland again? All right, let's get back up into Greenland then. Again, as far as numbers, not the worst, but let's not let this get anywhere close to critical mass. Nowhere close. All right, we are going to go ahead and grab the antifungal. I'm just going to reset whatever that infection bonus is in the background. I'm not too sure what it is. We want to prevent it from becoming an issue. I would love to start buying some authority so I can get a better score by the end of this. We made some pretty good progress with the production right off the bat. Save a few points, watch for any non-compliance. This is actually lucky because sometimes I've had issues where like 5 or 6 nations are non-compliant all the time. But so far, they're actually following instruction really well. I don't know if that's a background like modifier because I'm making really steady progress in the vaccine and production. People are more likely to follow orders because they feel like I'm doing a good job. I don't know, but let's just watch for it. Little bursts whenever a nation breaks quarantine, but otherwise we're looking fine. Gonna buy some authority. Production's about done. Now it is done. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and refund all of our points and break the lockdowns. We're gonna get our authority back because we are about to distribute the vaccine, so we're not worried about it. Let's take care of this. Thank you. Go for authority, couple levels of that. And let's also go for censorship. Censorship increases non-compliance, yes, but it also freezes any authority loss for the next month, which means we're about to build up our authority, and then we're not going to lose any for the rest of the game. So by picking that up, we've locked in our authority now at 122 while the rest of this gets released. We are going to be just fine. That was a fantastic attempt on my end. My God. That was really good. Really, really good. Okay, I like. Happy frogs? What is this? People falsely believed field research operatives are putting mind control drugs in the water supply. What? I have no idea what that is. Okay, maybe that's fake news. Anyway, we've eradicated the fungus. So only 2 stars, despite the fact that this was good authority, 100 authority. Actually, it was more than that, wasn't it? How'd we lose some? And 352 days, less than a year, and we still only got 2 stars. Ah, that just doesn't feel right. But all right, anyway, nope, so that's how you beat the fungus. You have to go for the continental lockdowns because you never know where it's going to pop up. You can't follow just your standard procedure of following the natural spread patterns and trying to keep that under control. And by not focusing any of our points on infection rate reduction and instead keeping it exclusively on quarantine, we had enough points to go around to actually keep everything under control. That's the trick with the fungus. If you do that, you're going to be just fine. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.